Beginning in the child's pose. We'll start with Ujjayi breathing. To make this sound, you can open your mouth as you inhale and exhale as though whispering. Again, inhale. And the mouth closes as you exhale, creating the Ujjayi sound. Maintain this throughout the yoga practice. The cat and cow sequence. Moving the hands under shoulders, knees under hips. As you inhale, create an extension through the spine, pulling through the chest. In the exhale, begin to tuck under. You're curling in, nose to the navel. Inhaling, the shoulders loop back, the pelvis tilts. Imagine a wave of movement through the spine. And as you exhale, a deep tucking under of the hips, a rounding of the shoulders, curling. Inhale. In the exhale to curl. Finding yourself in a neutral position, spine straight as we move into our wrist prep. Alternate between flexing and extending through the hands. Move in different shapes. You can turn the fingers toward, you can flex the wrist, and work through bit by bit, just getting circulation into the area. We'll be on the hands throughout the yoga practice today, so it's good to take a moment to prepare. Organizing the hands a little forward the shoulders, we're moving into our first downward dog of the practice. Here we can practice our calf raise. Similar to the wrist work, this way we can begin to pump blood into the ankles, the tendons, and the lower body. Take your time with this. As you inhale, rise onto the toes. You can feel the sitting bones lift. And as you exhale, think of sinking the heels down and toward the mat. As you inhale, imagine you're lifting through the pubic bone. As you exhale, you're able to sink back and down. Transitioning, moving the center of gravity forward. You can feel how the weight travels forward into the arms. At the top of the mat, inhale, look up, try to straighten the back, walk the hands up the legs. Then in the exhale, forward fold, allowing yourself to sink all the way down. And then we'll stand, pressing the heels, feel the legs strong as you move up to standing. Take a moment in your mountain pose just to reconnect to the breath and feel the central axis of alignment in the body. Beginning with the Sun Salutation A. Inhale, the hands up and look up to your thumbs. Exhale, the forward fold, moving from the hinge and then gradually flowing all the way down the head in. Inhale, the halfway lift, and here you're feeling the back straightening, you're moving the center of gravity forward. In the exhale, step or jump back to a high and a low plank. Inhale, the upward dog. Keep the legs tight. Just like you practiced in the cat and cow sequence, we're able to pull through. And then in the exhale, curling back into the downward facing dog. As you warm up, it's okay to organize the hands and the feet. As you're working into the position, you can always add movement. Sometimes it takes a minute just to get comfortable in the posture. Connecting to your breath. As you finish your exhale, raise the heels, look front. Rock back, then step or jump forward. As you inhale, open up. Then in the exhale, forward fold. Press your heels. Inhale, hands up, look up to your thumbs. And exhale to Samastiti, the mountain pose. Sun Salutation B. As you finish the exhale, bend the knees sitting low. Then inhale, the hands up, look up to your thumb. Exhale from the hips, and then the head moves in, the forward fold. As you inhale, feel that you're able to open back up, straightening the back. Exhale, step or jump back, high and low plank. Inhale, pull through the upward dog. Feel the extension through the whole body. Exhale, the downward dog. Still exhaling, step the right foot between the hands. Then inhale, the arms up like a warrior. Look up to your thumb. Exhale, transitioning the high and low plank. Inhale, upward dog, pulling through the arms. Exhale, the downward dog, pushing away. Still exhaling, step the left foot between the hands. Inhale, arms up, look up to your thumbs. Exhaling, the high and low plank. Inhale, pull through the upward dog, look to your nose, drishti. Exhale, pushing back through the downward dog, looking to the navel drishti. Collecting 5 breaths here, you can feel the inhale moving wide across the back of the heart. And the exhale seems to move all the way down to a point below the navel. The inhale is broad and expressive. The exhale deep, integrating. Finishing the exhale, rock back, then step or jump forward. Inhale the halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, sit low. Inhale, hands up, look up to your thumbs. Exhale, finish in the mountain pose. The standing series, beginning with the forward fold. First, catch the big toe, then inhale the halfway lift. On your exhale, fold from the hinge. Feel the rib cage pulling in, the head also moving in. It's okay for the knees to be bended, but think about a deep stretch from the hinge joint. Then gradually work on straightening your knees by pressing down the big toes. You can do this one leg at a time as you breathe. Finishing the exhale. Then inhale the halfway lift. Prepare the hands under feet pose. Here you want to inhale, reclaim that length through the spine. Then in the exhale, the forward fold. Think about moving the head toward the shins. It's as though you are pulling the hands from under the feet. The elbows are bending out. Feel that you're wide across the upper back and then narrow down through the waist. As you breathe, feel how the breath moves wide across the back of the heart. Then the exhale seems to become narrow at a point below the navel. Feels like you're becoming progressively emptier in the belly and the pelvic muscles. Soft eyes gazing to the nose. To transition, inhale the head up, the halfway lift. Exhale, hands to your hinge. Now use your legs as you inhale to stand, and Samastiti, close the feet. Preparing the triangle pose, bend the knees, step or jump the feet out wide. Inhaling. Then in the exhale, hinge to the right and catch hold the big toe. If you're not able to hold the big toe, no problem, hold higher on the leg. Then imagine that you're pulling your body into one plane. Feel that central axis through your spine, and that's where the head turns from. Chin over the shoulder, looking to that thumb with your right eyeball. When you exhale, look down, then inhale, stand and turn for the left side, lever left. And then in the exhale, hinge to the left and catch. In the inhale, try to find that central alignment. The chin over shoulder, looking up to the right thumb with the left eye. You can feel the breath deep into the right side of the body. As you finish your exhale, look down to the foot. Press down through the right foot as you stand, inhaling. Turn to the right. Then exhale, about halfway and twist, moving the left hand under shoulder, moving the left shoulder under the right. Focus on the arm movement here as that left arm pushes away and protracts. The right arm seems to pull back, retracting the shoulder. The head is once again turning on that central axis. The legs are strong, focusing on that left foot. Exhale to look down, then inhale, push into the left foot to stand and turn. Left side. Exhale about halfway, then twist. Remember, the action is through the shoulders. As you're moving the shoulders in one direction, the hips seem to counter twist. In this way, we're able to squeeze all of the juice out of the Revolve Triangle pose. Breathe against the resistance of the twist. When you exhale, look down. Inhale, stand, strong legs, and then in the exhale, jump to Samastiti. The side angle, jump the feet wider to the right. Then exhale, bending right knee 90 degrees, lever to the right, take the left arm up and over 45 degrees, connects the left arm to the left leg. You can feel that connection down through the side of the body, all the way down to the floor. As you continue breathing, try to sink a little lower in that right hip. To exit, press down through the left foot, inhale, stand, turn for the left side. Bend the left knee 90 degrees, then the right arm reaches up and over 45 degrees, connects the right arm to the side body, all the way down to the outer right heel. You can visualize a beautiful angle through the body. As you breathe, you'll feel the breath more into that right lung, the right armpit. As you inhale, press down through the right foot to stand, bend the knees and step or jump to Samastiti. The wide feet forward fold, stepping or jumping your feet wide again, hands on the hinge as you forward fold. Now organize the hands under the shoulders. Inhale, prepare, the back straight, head up. Then on the exhale, bend the arms and try to push the head toward the floor. Once you're able to make contact, the pressure of the legs will offload more onto the head and onto the arms. This will allow you to press down the big toes and eventually straighten the knees fully. Breathe into the back of the heart. Always finishing your exhale before moving. Then use the inhale. You're going to begin to extend the back here. You want to get the head up, the hinge again. Exhale, hands to the hinge. Then inhale, use your legs to stand. B position. Inhale, reach the arms wide. Feel that stretch from the armpit to the elbow. Then exhale, hands to the hinge. Now keep the armpits wide as you inhale. On the exhale, fold from the hips. Think of bringing the front ribs down so you're compressing through the belly, and then gradually move the head to the floor. Remember how you're able to offload pressure from the legs onto the head. You can gradually re-straighten the knees, pressing down the big toes as you gradually stretch the thighs. And remember to breathe. Deep breathing into the back of the heart. And then exhale, narrow at the waist. Inhale, pressure heels all the way up to standing. And exhale, C. Inhale, fly the arms. Then exhale, reach back and interlace your fingers, all 10 knuckles. Inhale, extend the arms to prepare. Then exhale the forward fold, gradually moving the head over and the arms over. Here you can feel the weight of the arms gradually stretching into the back. Take your time with this. We have multiple joints in motion. We have the hips flexing deeply, the trunk flexing deeply. We're all the way upside down, and then gradually the arms stretch over to the floor. Always finishing the exhale, then press down through your heels and use the inhale, squeeze through the posterior chain all the way up to standing. And exhale, D, the last, starting with the hands on the hinge, inhaling. In the exhale, the forward fold. Slide the hands down and hold the big toe. Inhale, the head up, the halfway lift. Then on the exhale, forward fold, moving the head between the feet. The elbows are bending wide. Here you can direct the breathing into the back of the heart. And as you exhale, narrow down through the navel. You can feel how the breath moves in that wide Cobra hood pattern, wide across the shoulders, the upper back. And then as you exhale, narrow through the waist and below the navel. Always finishing your last exhale. Then inhale, the halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the hips. Inhale to stand. Use your legs. As you exhale, jump to Sama Sthiti, the mountain pose. Preparing your pyramid by internally rotating the shoulders. Slide the hands back into a prayer position. Then add a bit of external rotation. The shoulders are wide. As you inhale, open square to the right. Exhale, the forward fold. Slowly. Here you want to flex from the hip joint. The knee can bend a little. That's okay as you guide the head toward the knee. Then work on pressing down through the big toe to re-extend the leg. You can think about pulling up the thigh. You can gradually pull all the way up to that hip joint. As you breathe, you can soften the eyes and look to the nose. Inhale, stand. Turn for the left side. Prepare. In the exhale, focus on the hinge. And then throughout the duration of the posture, you can work on refinement. The knee can start a little bended and then gradually work on fully extending the knee by pressing down the big toe. You can feel how the quadriceps engage like you're pulling up the kneecap. As you breathe, remember to breathe into the area of sensation. Finishing your exhale, then inhale, press into the right leg to stand, open the wings, and exhale, step to the front, Sama Sthiti. Moving right back into our flow, inhale the hands up, look up, exhale the forward fold. You should feel much more flexible now. Inhale the halfway lift, stretching forward, exhale, step or jump back, the plank. Inhale, pull through the upward dog, look to the nose. Exhale, the downward dog. Look to the navel. Preparing the chair pose. Rock back, then step or jump forward. Bend the knees so you're sitting low into your chair. Heels heavy, the bottom heavy. Then inhale, gradually pull the arms up and back. Think of moving the head behind the hands so you're looking down the nose to the thumbs. Take your time with this. Think of pulling the arms progressively back. The weight of the arms helps you to stretch deeper into the hip, the knee, and the ankle. Transitioning, exhale. Keep the knees bended, placing the hands about 30 centimeters forward of the feet, and then moving into the crow pose. Pull the legs up and in. As you're squeezing through the midsection, the hips, bend the knees a little more. Think about pulling the feet up toward the bottom. Center of gravity moves forward and then jump back. The vinyasa, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, the down. Preparing the warrior series, stepping the right foot forward, organizing the left heel down. As you inhale, raise the arms up and the head moves back, looking down the nose toward the thumb. During this posture, the right hip gradually sinks low. Think about getting that right leg to 90 degrees without losing the back leg. The left side, inhale, stand and turn, and we'll begin again. We work on bending that left knee, gradually getting deeper through that hip, and feel that you can drive off of that right leg. It's a powerful stance, the warrior one. Preparing the transition, when you inhale, open out and begin to level out. Think of leveling the hips, ribs, and shoulders in the Warrior Two. Gradually, that left hip will sink low again, that 90-degree angle. And you can imagine alternately stretching the yoga mat between the feet and squeezing the inner thighs. This will help you to gradually sink a bit deeper. Always finishing your exhale, then inhale, stand, and turn for the right side. Feel the arm stretch. The sensation is stretching from the armpit to the elbow, from the elbow to the wrist, and from the wrist to the fingers. As you breathe in this way, you can feel that whole dynamic tension throughout the body. The transition, both hands either side of the right foot, and step back. Preparing for back strengthening poses. Starting with the Locust, we're going to exhale and lie down on the stomach. Take a moment here to press your hips into the floor, reaching the hands down by your hips. Inhale, push down to lift up. The feet come up, the head comes up. Keep reaching your hands down into your pocket and feel the squeeze through the inseams of the legs. Remember to use your breath, inhaling, and as you exhale, you can find a bit more space and relaxation. Transitioning for the B position, the Locust 2, bend both elbows and place the thumbs level with your navel. The hands will be right under the elbow. Think about an isometric pulling movement through your lower lats. Here you can feel your back, your shoulders, your legs, everything working in concert to keep the extension. Let's do a vinyasa by inhaling, pull up and through the upward dog. And then on the exhale, you can just lie back down in the prone position. Walk the hands forward and the elbow under the shoulder into a Sphinx position. Take a moment here to pull the chest through. As you're working into this Cobra position, you can gradually bend the knees. That'll reactivate the hips and hamstrings. And then if you feel comfortable, you can work on extending the arms, popping the elbows off the floor. If you want a bit more extension, you can walk the fingers back. You can gradually move the feet and head closer together. Breathe deeply here in this back bending posture. With the exhale, slowly come down, and we'll add the bow pose. Keeping the knees bended, reach back and hold the ankles. Now that we've pre-activated the muscles, it should feel a bit easier to kick the legs back into the arms, then use the arms to pull the legs up higher. So the arms and legs are working together as though pulling the string of a bow. As you exhale, relax to come down, and we'll add a vinyasa. As you inhale, pull through the upward dog. Exhale, pushing to the downward dog. We'll do a little more work on the hips with the crescent lunge. Putting both knees down on the mat, and take a moment to prepare the pelvis. Here you want to feel the pelvis is neutral and tucked under, and then step the left foot forward. We're going to gradually sink that right hip down. You can place your hand behind the sitting bone and add a bit of weight to your leg. Here you want to focus on the front of the hip flexor. You can feel the weight move off of the kneecap and more onto the upper thigh, so you're above the kneecap. Take your time with this. The hip flexor will take some time to loosen up, so you want to give yourself a chance to practice good mechanics throughout. The pelvis is tucking under as we switch sides. Here you're thinking about that left sitting bone sinking straight down and doing your best to keep the pelvis tucked under. This is not always easy, but if you keep the engagement through the hip muscles, the midsection, you'll better isolate the hip flexor, the iliopsoas muscle. Transitioning, let's now test this through the camel pose. You can keep the toes curled under and back and then tucking the pelvis under. Think about the posterior pelvic tilt. Now go up and over the kidney. Do your best to arch from the upper back. You can always support yourself, hands on the back, or if you feel like you want to move to the next phase, walk the hands back to the heel. Work on lifting up and over. So the pressure is not in the lower back. We want to feel that the work is in the legs, that you can feel a good hip flexor stretch, and the breath is deep. To come out, inhale, come up. And then on the exhale, we'll transition. We're going to move into an arm stand here. Work on the elbow under shoulder position and then walk the hands out as though doing the Sphinx. Either stay in the first variation here. You can feel the engagement of the underside of the shoulders, the serratus anterior muscle. If you feel comfortable in the arm stand, then you can walk the feet forward, and progressively you can work on kicking up. Or you can go nearby the wall to practice this one. Remember, you want to breathe and continue engaging through the shoulders. Take your time with this pose. The arm stand is actually a little bit easier once you're up into the balance because it will redistribute the center of gravity. Whenever you are finished, come down and we'll take a moment in the puppy pose. In the puppy, walking the hands forward as you're gradually stretching and sinking the chest toward the floor. It's okay to keep the bottom lifted in this position. Think about overstretching through the shoulders. We're preparing our back bending sequence. Transition, stretch the legs out, and we'll roll down just like in the Pilates class. Think about sequencing with strong legs and then down through the spine like a wave. We'll move into a series of bridge poses. Here, the legs are still controlling most of the effort and engaging through the midsection to support the back. Walking the feet under the knees, and then gradually we'll press up into our first shoulder bridge. Here, you can support under the back with the hands, or place the yoga blocks there to give yourself a bit more passive extension in the bridge pose. You'll feel that you can greatly relax the muscle tension and try to rest on the skeleton. If you want to add the full bridge, walk the hands under the shoulder and then gradually transition onto the head. You can work on lifting the heels if you feel any low back compression, and you can work on lifting the head toward the chest if you feel any upper back compression. Take your time with these back bending poses. It should feel like a very comfortable pose. You're feeling the back is arching for sure, but mostly the shoulders are stretching, the hips are stretching. After several breaths, you can come down and take rest. We'll do some counter positions, beginning with a simple back release. Bend the knees up one at a time and just take a moment here, holding with your hands. Now we're going to push the knees into the hands as you inhale. With the exhale, flex the hips and squeeze the knees in a bit. Going back and forth in this way, inhale the knees forward into the hands. Exhale, the arms bend, and you give yourself a back stretch. This movement can be subtle, but it's a great way to begin loosening up the deep back muscles. Single leg pull. Move the head toward the knee, and then we're going to alternately squeeze the knee toward the body as we extend the opposite side leg. Here, you want to think about pumping deep into the hip joint while extending the opposite side. Point the toe and squeeze the glutes. It's almost like you're walking with high knees. If this feels comfortable, extend the knees and move right into leg scissors. This is more dynamic, but involves the same movement, the lower belly, the hip flexors, inhaling and exhaling. Gradually, you'll move the head toward the knees, and you'll feel the deep stretching of the entire back line of the body. When you finish, just take a moment on your back, the knees in, and shake the head no. And we'll transition, rocking and rolling a few times back and forth. And then let's add a vinyasa. Take your time here as you transition through. Finishing with some deep twisting of the thoracic spine. Extend the right leg and then step the right foot just outside of the right hand. We're going to move the left hand under the shoulder and then work on twisting the right chest up. As you're doing this, think about keeping that right knee bended and keep the right knee pulled into the body. As we practiced before, it's the movement of the shoulders that creates the twist. The hips are steady and they stay. Adding the deep quadricep stretch, put the right knee on the floor and then bend the knee. As you're bending the left knee, think about pulling that heel toward the bottom. This is a very intense stretch of the quadricep. If you're not quite able to hold the foot yet, you can keep the knee bended and let it float there. Moving into the pigeon. Now we walk the right foot toward the left hand. Gradually, that leg rotates out into a 90-degree angle. If you want a greater range of motion, you can move the foot more forward. Less range of motion, you keep the foot in closer. It's helpful to go side to side. Adding a bit of side movement will help you to find that sweet spot between the two hips. So we're feeling this equally. The outer right hip around the gluteal fold, and then the front of the left hip at the hip flexors. When you're breathing, imagine breathing into those areas. For the transition, we'll just step back to the dog pose. And the other side, extending the left leg, take a moment to prepare. Then stepping the left foot outside of the left hand, and we'll begin working into the deep thoracic rotation. Right hand under the shoulder, and then we're going to move that left arm up and toward the ceiling. You can imagine that you have a straight line between the two arms, and then you have strong legs. That gives you support. Keep a good focus on your right leg. That is your balancing leg. Then put the right knee on the mat, and we'll bend that knee, moving into the deep quadricep stretch. As you're working here, think about breathing into the area where you feel the pressure. As you're breathing into that area, imagine each exhalation as an opportunity to relax the hip, to soften into the stretch. The pigeon, walking that left foot toward the right hand, and then we'll gradually move the hip outward into the pigeon stretch. As you go forward into this position, you can stack the fists so the head is able to rest on the mat. You want for the body to be comfortable, the breath to be deep, and there's a sense of ease in the body. Finally, we'll walk the hands back under and the transition. The last vinyasa of our practice, take a moment in your plank, then inhale the upward facing dog. Exhale the downward facing dog. And then we'll transition to the seated pose. Go ahead and step through to seated and sit in your comfortable cross-legged position. Whatever you like, if you need a bolster, that's also a good option so that you can have your spine in an upright position. Organizing the spine here so that you're neutral, and then connecting to the breath. Remember, it's helpful if you're not sure about the sound to start with the mouth open. It's that breathy sound. Then gradually as you inhale and exhale, the mouth closed, creating that ujjayi sound, the victory breath. In our final resting position, take your time here as you begin to stretch out on the yoga mat. It's always a good idea to cover the body with a blanket and take your time. You can stay for 5 to 15 minutes. Just rest. Thank you for your practice today. Namaste.